What up again, YouTube? Third video today for me, on a bit of a tear. I suppose I've been putting off making videos, so that's probably why I've done a few in one day. But this one won't be on the politics stuff, really. This will be more on the dating side of things. Because I've noticed this year that that women are stealing men's arguments. Right? Essentially, in the past, like, men have distanced themselves from dating. There was a movement called Men Going Their Own Way, MGTOW, or MGTOW. I've never really associated myself with them. I always found those guys to be a bit toxic compared to like the sort of men's rights activists that I would normally have been associating with back in the day, almost 20 years ago now. But the Men Going Their Own Way movement has been going strong now for 20 years, and I would say it's stronger than ever. And women have only just started to make their own sort of similar movements, like that one in Korea, I forget its name. That's potentially similar. Yeah, and I see a lot of posts saying that like women have done with dating, but they absolutely haven't. Women want relationships more than men do. It's the natural state for women to want to be in relationships more than men. Men are not as focused by relationships as women, which is why when a man focuses on a relationship too much, it turns off the woman, because she should be the one focusing on the relationship. He should be the one focusing on his goals. And I sort of got into a bit of back and forth. I mean, a lot of the ideas from my videos come from these back and forths, to be honest. Where this woman was trying to say that because OnlyFans exists, that means that men still want women. Like a sliver of the population using OnlyFans to buy, photographs they could easily get anywhere else doesn't prove that most men want relationships with Western women, which is my caveat. Because not only do you have men going their own way, but you have the old passport bros movement. So even if we ignored the sort of MGTOW movement of men just giving up on dating, there's still millions of men that won't date Western women anymore and go to like Asia, Africa and South America for wives. So just by sheer maths and logic, there must be more women in the West looking for relationships with men who aren't looking for relationships with them. It happens to me. Like, somebody a while ago in my local area was making attempts to try and chat me up, and I curved it completely. I'm like, I have absolutely zero interest in English women. Not until things change, until the society changes, until culture changes again. I'm not saying it has to go back to the 1950s, but I think really in the 1990s we had it more or less figured out in those regards with relationships. Gender roles weren't firm, but they were still sort of in existence, but people pick and choose. I think with my family growing up, my stepdad would have been the one cooking most of the time and not my mum. From what I remember, obviously if he wasn't around, but he seemed to enjoy cooking more than my mother. So it's not as if like gender roles were strict and had to be enforced at all time, but it certainly wasn't like the clusterfuck of idiocy that we have now. So yeah, it is absolutely the case that there are less men for you to date now in the West than there was 10 years ago, 20 years ago, even though the population is higher now, because men have had enough. And you women, like, when we tell you this stuff, you have to get all racist about it and say, no, these women just want green cards, which is cringe because we don't even have green cards in the UK. No such thing. So you're just using like Yankee arguments, or you Yanks think that everywhere is America again, which it's not. But the vast majority of women are looking for relationships just like men. Are there scammers around? Certainly, but far less than in Britain. You'll get far less scammers talking to Asian women than you would here in Great Britain. It's just a fact. And if you can either test this out, you guys can test this out, get Tinder Premium with the passport feature or whatever, and go match some Asian girls, and you'll see it's like day and night. And you women as well that seem to doubt the legitimacy of passport bros and men finding love elsewhere, set up an account as a man, right? Talk to women in your area, you know, Western women, English women, obviously from where I am, you know, it could be American women, I imagine it's fucking pretty much the same. And then, after you've done that, go talk to the Asian girls. And it is like night and day. You wouldn't believe how much nicer, more pleasant, submissive. You know, it's not obviously not perfect. There are some head cases, some crazy cats, some people that are you know, probably not meant to be in relationships. But again, it's far less prevalent than what we have here in this country. So it is men leaving the dating market, or at least leaving your dating market, you Western women. It just seems inconceivable that you women are the ones making the videos crying because nobody will approach you, or that you're walking down the street and you're trying to get men to approach for your TikTok video and they're just curving you instantly. Would that happen 10, 20 years ago? No. You know, Pretty Woman wants to talk to a man. Usually you'd be like, oh, well, see what she wants to talk to at the very minimum. Now, men have been burned so much, or they've seen their friends, family get burned so much. They're not tolerating it anymore, and with good reason. So no, women, it's not you that's left dating, it's men. Men are the ones who can wait until we're 40, 45, 50. We can even have kids older than that, but again, we start running the gauntlet of having health issues with children if we have them too late. But we have more leeway, you know. There's posts you'll see go up, and I've seen one where she was like, can't remember, oh, I'm turning 30, this is me, yada yada yada, living my best life, she's on her own or whatever. And then like 2 years later she's posting one saying, oh, I've turned 32, really think I need to get this baby making underway. You know what I mean? It's just cope. All you women are always trying to say that you've given up on dating and that there's no men worth dating. You're just coping because these men are good enough. What you've done is you've inflated your self-worth beyond where it should be. You know, in the past I've had women unmatch me for not having a car. I'm like, no, I've got a driving license, but I just don't have a car at the minute. Boom, unmatched. Like, what the fuck's that about, women, eh? No, that is a completely delusional way to think you're better than me because of that. And again, it's just one of the many numerous factors why I took that advice and I did start matching girls in the Philippines. You know, and I suppose, you know, Malaysia, Thailand too. But, you know, you kind of need to focus on one country if you're going to learn about their culture, you know, start learning their language and stuff. And that's why my channel's called Adam the Afam. Afam is what they refer to usually white guys in the Philippines. And no, it's not a negative thing. It's not just like gaijin or anything like that. It's complimentary. But yeah, so yeah, it's not you. You didn't leave, we left. We're going to continue leaving until you change your attitude. Anyway, that's the end of this video. See you in the next one.